Hello, sports fans. Welcome to Spruce Sports Central. Today, we're going to be going over my NFL Conference Championship game prediction. So last week in the divisional round, I had a record of 2-2, and that brings my record on the season to 194 and 88. Beginning things with the NFC Championship game, and that is the Commanders at the Eagles. So this is an interesting matchup, as we have the six-seeded Commanders, who are coming off a 45-31 upset win over the Lions, against the two-seeded Eagles, who last week beat the Rams 28-22. But this will be the third time these two teams meet this season. Their first meeting was in Week 11, and in that game, the Eagles won 26-18. And their second meeting was back in Week 16, in a game the Commanders won 36-33. Although the Eagles were very banged up in that matchup, and that was also the game Jalen Hurts got hurt in. But I think this should be another close game between these teams. Offensively for the Eagles, they're scoring 27 points per game, and they've really win on the run, as they're rushing for 184 yards per game, and Saquon Barkley has been great against the Commanders this season, as in his two games, he has run for 296 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Saquon has also been great in the playoffs, as in the Eagles' two playoff games, he has 324 yards. Now, while Saquon's been great for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts in their passing game have not been great, as Jalen Hurts is averaging just 130 passing yards per game in the two postseason games, and he's also been sacked 9 times. And on top of Hurts not playing well, he's also dealing with a knee injury, and that takes away most of his rushing ability, and he's probably been a better runner than passer so far in the playoffs. But the Eagles' offense faces a Commanders' defense that is allowing about 23.3 points per game, but they're not very good at stopping the run, as they're allowing 140 rushing yards per game. On the flip side, the Commanders' offense is great, as they just dropped 45 in the Lions last week, and they're averaging 29.1 points per game in the season. The Commanders' offense has also been playing extremely well during their 7-game winning streak, as during that 7-game stretch, they're averaging over 31 points per game, and Jaden Daniels has 18 total touchdowns to 4 turnovers. But the Commanders then will face an Eagles defense that is best in the NFL, allowing 17.6 points per game, and the Eagles are also the only team in the NFL to allow fewer than 300 yards per game, as the Eagles are allowing 286 total yards per game. But this is a very tough game to predict. Now, I think Saquon Barkley will have a good game because he's been great in the playoffs and against the Commanders this season, plus the Commanders are bad at stopping the run. And I can definitely see Saquon Barkley having a big game and leading the Eagles to victory. But I also think the Commanders can win this game, even if Saquon Barkley has a great game. Because the Rams, they almost beat the Eagles last week in a game where Barkley ran for over 200 yards, and the Commanders are probably better than the Rams. But this is a game that can definitely go either way. The Commanders, they've looked great, winning 7 straight games. They just knocked off the one-seeded Lions, who are a lot of people's favorites to win the Super Bowl. They were my pick before the playoffs started. And the Eagles, they haven't looked very impressive. Jalen Hurts is now banged up, and I can definitely see the Commanders getting the upset win. But I am going to take the Eagles to get the win. They have the better defense and they're home. I'm going to trust Saquon Barkley and the Eagles defense. And I've got the Eagles making the Super Bowl for the second time in the last 3 years, and they beat the Commanders by a score of 24-21. Moving on to the AFC Championship game, where we have the Bills at the Chiefs. So this should be another great game. We have the two-seeded Bills, who are coming off a 27-25 win over the Ravens, against the top-seeded Chiefs, who are in the AFC Championship game for the 7th straight season. This is the 4th time in the last 5 playoffs that the Bills and Chiefs are facing each other. The Chiefs, they've won the first 3 games, but with the Chiefs, they've been the team with playoff success against the Bills. It has been the other way around in the regular season. As the Bills, they've won 4 straight regular season meetings against the Chiefs, including a 30-21 win this season, which is one of the Chiefs' just 2 losses on the season. But this should be a great game and can definitely go either way. Offensively for the Bills, they're great as they're scoring 30.6 points per game, and their offense has actually been built a little bit more on the run this season, as they're averaging 136 rushing yards per game, and they actually lead the NFL with 36 rushing touchdowns on the season. That is regular season and postseason combined. And the Bills, they also ran for 147 yards against the Ravens last week, who had the league's top rush defense. And even though the Bills, they have a great offense, obviously Josh Allen is still having an insane season and is potentially on track to win his first MVP. But the Bills' offense, they face a great Chiefs defense that is allowing just 18.8 points per game, and they're good at stopping the run, allowing 104 rushing yards per game. Then on the flip side, the Chiefs' offense is still good, but they're not having the best statistical season, as they're putting up just 22.6 points per game. But the Chiefs' offense faces a Bills defense that is allowing 21 points per game. but this is a very tough game to predict. The Bills, they won this game in the regular season by 9 points, but they were at home for this game, or for that game. Now, this game is in Kansas City, a place the Chiefs have not lost at yet this season as they're 8-0, and the Chiefs are also 44-11 in the Mahomes era when they're at home. But when these teams played in the playoffs last year, it seemed like the Bills finally had their chance to beat the Chiefs. They were at home, they had some playmakers around Josh Allen, and they didn't win. And now the Bills, they got to go to Kansas City. Their offense is essentially just Josh Allen, and if they didn't win last year, are they ever going to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? But this is definitely a very tough game to predict, and I think this is going to be a very close game. Now, because I think this will be a close game, that would probably give the advantage to the Chiefs, considering they're home, plus they've won an NFL record 16 straight one-score games. But I think their one-score luck ends this week. I have the Bills winning this game, and they win a close one, also by a score of 24-21, and they advance to the Super Bowl and the Chiefs' chances of a three-peat. And I'm not sure if it's smart to pick the Bills to get the win, but I do have the Bills getting the win and advancing to the Super Bowl. But those are my NFL Conference Championship game predictions. I'm not really confident with either pick, but I do have the Bills and Eagles in Super Bowl 59. We will also be having a live watch party for both these conference championship games on Sunday, so be sure to subscribe, turn notifications so you don't miss those, and I hope to see you guys there. Also, be sure to check out the community tab of my channel, where you guys can vote on who you think will win this week's games. But those are my conference championship game predictions. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, turn notifications. I do my best to post as often as possible, and I will see you in the next video.